So ready?
Yes, it is.
Hi guys, it's Mrs. Seitz. You're in my sunroom, and guess what? I brought you today my camera guy, my Uncle Tommy. Remember we talked about him and all the donuts?
Hey guys.
And then I have my wonderful Jalen. She's going to be like a student for Mrs. Seitz because you know, I got to have people in front of me. So let's get going. Guys, I miss you. I know it's only Monday, and it's been kind of strange that we're not together on a Monday, but we're going to make the best that we can. So friends, we're going to right now get out our whiteboard. Can I have your whiteboard? Thank you. So find your whiteboard at home. We're going to talk about this again, about how to make a clock. So we're going to target right up here, because Mrs. Seitz brought that from the classroom. I would like you all, please, to make a clock. I want to see that circle. We know that we put in our anchor numbers, and then we fill in the rest. See if you can do that. You can look up here if you want to, if you need some help. Otherwise, try it on your own. Do you know where the hours go? Can you even recall all of the minutes? Remember, they go by 5. And friends, when you're looking up at this, you can also make some connections again with the fact that we talk about analog and digital. And the biggest goal in 2nd grade is, can we read an analog clock? That's a big deal, because digital is pretty easy. Numbers are right there. But that analog is what's really going to give you some money for some time here. Now listen, I'm going to tell Jalen to show me 9:45. Now she better remember that that hour hand is not on that 9. You guys know that. That hour hand moves while the minute hand is moving. So we'll see what Jalen's looks like. Why don't you do the same at home? Show me 9:45. She's putting in her minutes. She's doing pretty good for somebody a little bit older than you. All right. Jalen, at the top, make sure you put an o'clock. I'm glad that you know that it's 60, because that's true. We all know a clock has 60 minutes, but she has to remember that it's an o'clock right there. So she's going to fix that. Nice. And she's going to show us 9:45. I hope she remembers that long hand is our minute hand, everybody, right? And that short little fat hand, that's our hour hand. She's doing really well. Can I have your clock? Great. Friends, here we go. Here's Jalen's. Now I'm looking at Jalen. She has that minute hand. She has it in the right spot. But look at that hour hand. Friends, should that hour hand be right on that 9? You guys know it's got to be closer to the 10. Did anybody get schmickered on that one? You know how we feel about that. We've talked about that. We're like, I'm not going to be fooled. So I'm just going to take that. I'm just going to readjust it. And we're going to make sure that we have that hour hand more likely going towards that 10. We know that. So friends, right now, if you did your clock at home and somebody's around, why don't you show them their clock? And then I would even encourage you to later on today, find at least 3 times today to tell the time. Ask your mom, ask your dad, who's ever taking care of you. Say, hey, ask me what time it is. You guys can practice that by simply doing that every day. I'd say 3 to 5 times. Get strong on your analog, because we've talked about that. Knowing how to read an analog clock, there's a lot of power in that.
Mrs. Seitz, can you show that clock again that your student gave you?
Oh yes, let me show
Just so we
one
can
more
get a
time.
better picture on the camera.
I will do that, cameraman Tommy. Oh, I'm gonna move my stuff. Don't you like how I brought everything with me? I brought everything. If you're not gonna be with me, I had to bring all my stuff. Oh, she fixed it. Look at that. Awesome. Thank you, Jalen. Jalen's been a good sport. Friends, we're going to move into what we pretty much would have been doing last week. But because things are different, we're going to do it from home now. So friends, if you look up here, we again know what our target goal is. And if I asked you to, you can read it with me if you can see it. Otherwise, I'm going to have Jalen read it out loud for us with a really big mathematician voice. Okay? Jalen, can you read that for me?
We will learn how to make picture graphs and bar graphs using data collected.
Excellent. Data collected. So friends, this data right here, we talked about that all last week. And this is really important. Can you guys recall when we took our surveys as classes, and then we took that data that we collected and we made it into a bar graph, and we also made it into a picture graph. So this was our big focus last week, and probably the week before that. Because you're mathematicians, this might, again, be very familiar. Let's recall that we know that graphs can be vertical, and they can also be horizontal. So when you're looking at your schoolwork today that I'm going to have you work on, they're going to be asking you to make most of your bar graphs horizontal. But because you're mathematicians, you'll probably figure that out. Hey, we forgot our call. Mathematicians!
That's me.
Excellent. I hope you guys answered me at home too. That is you. All right, friends, what I had sent home to you last week on Friday were these papers. Remember, they were separate from the packet. We're not going to go into Unit 6, which is right here. We're not going to go into this unit target about 3-digit addition. We'll start that hopefully on Wednesday. But for today, which is Monday, and for tomorrow, Tuesday, what I'm going to ask you to do at home is to work on that unit review and that unit review test. Now again, we're not together, so it's going to be a little bit different. And it's okay if your mom and dad do this with you and you ask lots of questions. That's all right. It would be the same thing in the classroom. But if you're looking at those pages, I can tell you right now, when I'm looking at it, this is stuff we've talked about. So this should not be too challenging. Again, it might be comfortable for many of you. Friends, the questions on the front of your unit quick quiz, it's going to ask you to answer questions about picture graphs and bar graphs. You are familiar with that. When you turn that page, hey, we know how to do this. This is all of our addition and subtraction. Watch those signs. Look at them. If you make a 10, remember, you bring it over to the tens place. If you need to ungroup a 10 because there's not enough, remember what we talked about. A lot of you are doing very well with this, so it's just kind of a quick little check. The next 2 pages are actually the review test. Friends, this is something that you might be comfortable with. And again, if you have to ask your mom or dad to walk with you through, that's absolutely fine with me. So there's 2 pages, and they're just a quick review. So I'm actually giving you 2 days. I'm going to ask you to work on these 3 papers Monday and also on Tuesday. If you finish all these papers, I would really appreciate it if you took a picture or have your parents take a picture and send it to me through Dojo. I would love to see what you've done. Or you could even Dojo me and say, Mrs. Seitz, I did my best. My mom looked it over. My dad did. Maybe you have a really smart brother. I don't know. And they looked it over with you. Again, friends, this is going to be different for Mrs. Seitz because I can't see your work as clearly as I could if I was touching it. But I'm willing to take a picture from you, as well as anybody saying, yeah, I did it, or this was kind of a struggle. Let me know. If there was something on here that was like, that was challenging, let me know. I'd like to know. On Wednesday, I'm going to upload another video. So today's video is just going to be today, working on these 3 to close up our unit, so that when we're together on Wednesday, we're going to get into 3-digit addition. I know, you guys are ready. We've done double digit. We can do 3. It's going to be exciting. We're going into the 1000s. Don't be afraid. I will jump in the deep end with you. I've always told you that. Jalen, you've got to come up here because I know they love to do this. Come on up, Jalen. Jalen's learned Math Monster. Guys, can you do this with me at home? Ready? Math Monster. Math Monster. Math Monster. I miss you. Mathematicians, that's me. Friends, we're going to end our time because you know you love my Edward Tulane. And because we're not together, that doesn't mean we can't, still read Edward Tulane. So we're going to end our time in math like we always do. It's my favorite leather chair. We're going to do a little Edward Tulane. If you see a foot, that's Sam's foot. Just letting you know. You guys, remember when Edward was in that diner at Neil's Diner? Oh, and then Bryce could not pay for that breakfast. And he took Edward and he smashed him right there on that counter. And then Edward was like, everything went black. Well, I told you, the next chapter has this picture. Now, you all think that Edward was going to walk. We know Edward is just a doll, a China doll. But right now, Edward is black. Darkness. It was dusk, and Edward was walking down a sidewalk. Edward is walking down a sidewalk. He was walking on his own, putting one foot in front of the other without any assistance from anybody. He was wearing a fine suit made of red silk. He walked down that sidewalk, and then he turned onto a path that led up to a house with lighted windows. I know this house, thought Edward. This is Abeline's house. I'm on Egypt Street. Lucy came running out the front door of the house, barking and jumping and wagging her tail. Down, girl, said a deep voice. Edward looked up, and there was Bull standing at the door. Hello, Malone, said Bull. Hello, good old little rabbit pie. We've been waiting for you. Bull swung the door wide, and Edward walked inside. Abeline was there, and Nellie, and Lawrence, and Bryce. Susanna, called Nellie. Jangles, said Bryce. Edward, said Abeline. She held out her arms to him, but Edward stood still. He looked around the room. You searching for Sarah Ruth? Bryce asked. Edward nodded. You gotta go outside if you want to see Sarah Ruth, said Bryce. So they all went outside. Lucy and Bull and Nellie and Lawrence and Bryce and Abeline and Edward. Right there, said Bryce, and he pointed up at the stars. Yep, said Lawrence. That is the Sarah Ruth constellation. He picked Edward up and put him on his shoulder. You can see it right there. Edward felt a pang of sorrow, deep and sweet and familiar. Why did she have to be so far away? If only I had wings, thought Edward, I could fly to her. Out of the corner of his eye, the rabbit saw something flutter. Edward looked over his shoulder, and there they were, the most magnificent wings he had ever seen, orange and red and blue and yellow. And they were on Edward's back. They belonged to him, and they were his wings. What a wonderful, wonderful night that was. He was walking on his own. He had an elegant new suit, and he had wings. He could fly anywhere, do anything. Why had he never realized it before? His heart soared inside of him. He spread his wings and flew off Lawrence's shoulder out of his hand and up into the nighttime sky toward the stars, toward Edward. No! Shouted Abeline. Catch him! Said Bryce. Edward flew higher. Lucy barked. Malone! Shouted Bull, and with a terrific lunge, he grabbed hold of Edward's feet and pulled him out of the sky and wrestled him to the earth. You can't go yet, said Bull. Stay with us, said Abeline. Edward beat his wings, but it was no use. Bull held him firmly to the ground. Stay with us, repeated Abeline. Edward started to cry. I couldn't stand to lose you again, said Nellie. Neither could I, said Abeline. It would break my heart. Lucy bent her face to Edward's, and she licked Edward's tears away. Boys and girls, the next time we get together, we'll be doing chapter 23. That picture's kind of interesting. It's a man working on Edward. You guys, I miss you. It's a beautiful day, I'm sure, today. I'll talk to you again on Wednesday. Remember, I'm thinking about you every day. I look forward to see what work you get done, that you upload right to Dojo so I can see it. Any questions, any concerns, please, please, please contact me. All right? You guys, I'll see you later. Mathematicians!
That's me.